Hello, we are here with Alex Cheeseman, head of Enterprise UK for Outbrain. How are you doing, Alex?
Couldn't be better. Thanks for asking.
Great. So the first question, sort of leading hopefully to an expansive answer, is why is attention important?
Attention isn't important. Like there's
Okay.
there's a practical reality, right? That attention by itself doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? What's really important is, as a brand or an advertiser, how does attention drive incrementally better business results? Like that's the thing we need to focus on. If we want to see attention become a catalyst for change, then we need to clearly understand as an industry, how does attention drive better business results?
Great. And why is attention having sort of its big moment right now?
Well, listen, attention is not new. It's been around for a while. I think we're seeing more and more people interested in how attention can become a lens for driving better business results, because actually the standards that we've set aren't aren't necessarily giving us the results we need. Like if we think about how most media is bought today, the standards of viewability that were set in 2014 by MRC, it's completely bonkers, right? Why anybody would be comfortable with 50% of their pixels in view for 1 or 2 seconds completely blows my mind. And so I think what's happening is people are looking for alternatives. They're looking at how can we be better at our media? And because we're in an environment and a climate where media budgets have shrunk because of the economic impact of what's going on, people are asking to do more with less. Then people have to look at other alternatives. And if a small percentage of your media can actually deliver better results, if you can optimize to get more from less, and if attention becomes that kind of catalyst for change, then fantastic. So we're seeing people explore that today because there are now vendors out there or platforms out there that are helping us to measure it, from a media perspective. There are vendors out there that can help us to measure it from a creative perspective and get better results. And there are players out there that have baked attention into their media and advertising, right? And so now we have this trifecta of opportunities. So it's a really good and exciting opportunity for any brands and businesses that are looking to do better, more targeted, higher attention formats that drive results.
So how do you view sort of creative and media attention? Should they be working together? Should they be viewed through separate lenses?
Yeah, well, I think it's really muddy when you look at it together, because there's a wonderful study from Karen Nelson Field, and this actually for me, every time I hear it, it raises questions in my head. She says, if you've got an incredible creative, what's more important, the creative asset or the platform? And she ran the study, and she showed that actually it doesn't matter if you have this incredible creative asset. If you put it in a really low attention media placement, then it drives poor results. So what's actually more important is the media placement versus the creative. And so when we think about attention, we look at it through this lens of three distinct areas. First of all, we look at platform or environment, right? What is the right platform that can drive the highest engagement for the right type of cost? And there's a variance there, but it's important that you look at all of those different lenses and you look at those different placements. You look at actually, where can I gather and garner the most attention for the most effective cost? We then look at context, right? So how do you better understand the context and the targeting so that you're showing the consumer the thing that matters to them, right? There's no point showing somebody a set of running shoes if they're really not interested in running shoes, right? So that plays a massive role in how much attention you can garner. And then the last piece is when you've got the right placement and you've actually got the right targeting and you've got an opportunity to capture attention, how do you then deliver the most engaging and high attention format and creative? And so there's a lot of businesses there that can help you to understand what are the elements, what are the tools, what are the tricks that will help to generate the right creative to capture and maintain the right type of attention, so that you're creating the right memory codes in people's brains.
Who is doing attention well, either brands or agencies, or sort of who's leading the conversations about how attention should be viewed and implemented?
Yeah. So again, if we kind of go back to that breakdown I gave you, I think we've got vendors that can look, or platforms that can look at attention measurement, right? And in my mind, there's three major players. You've got Adelaide, you've got Lumen, and you've got Amplified Intelligence. And these are the big macro players that are pure thoroughbreds in helping to understand how to capture attention across media. And then you've got the creative vendors, right? So how do you create assets that keep and maintain the highest amount of attention? And for people like that, you've got System One, which are incredible at looking at ads and looking at emotional resonance and how you keep and maintain that type of attention. You've got people like Kantar. So there's a few players out there. And then you've got the media placements, right? You've got the advertisers that have created formats that are driven for high attention. It's one of the things that we've done, right? We launched Onyx 6 months ago because we know that if you have premium publishers in brand safe environments, if you put your high impact display and your video in those placements, then you will drive attention. And so you've got, attention measurement platforms, Adelaide, Amplified Intelligence, Lumen. You've got creative measurement platforms, so System One, Kantar, and then you've got ad tech vendors that have baked attention into what they do, and that's what we've done with Onyx.
And so what is your advice for the advertisers or agencies that feel like they're sort of behind the times, or want to get started in attention, and how do they take that first step?
You need to approach attention strategically. If you look back over the past 2 or 3 years, I think what's happened is a lot of brands and advertisers have tried attention. So they might have run a few campaigns, they might have a score, they might have had some results, and they're like, great, let's move on to something else, because it hasn't necessarily moved the needle for them. I think you've got to approach it strategically. So thinking about which is the right vendor for me, what is the right methodology, who do I buy into the most, and then how do I then run all of my media, so you've got some consistency, because you can't compare scores from Adelaide with scores from Lumen with scores from Amplified Intelligence. It doesn't make sense. So you need to look at the methodologies that's out there, and you need to buy into the one that you believe in the most. And there's a practical reality, right? The practical reality is that it is impossible for anybody to know what goes on in somebody's brain when they're looking at an ad, right? And it's also impossible to measure it, right? So taking that as a reality, you have to understand that attention measurement is more around a probability that somebody is exploring, engaging, digesting, spending time, seeing your ad. And once you've accepted that, you then look at the methodologies, then look at the vendors and go, do you know what? I believe that this is the right vendor based on the methodologies they've got. So once you've gone through that phase, you then have to understand that what you're doing isn't going from 1 to 100, right? There's no such thing as a silver bullet. You're not going to suddenly get 100% attention. But what you need to believe it is, if I use attention with this vendor, can I incrementally improve my media performance? And can I incrementally improve and start to drive better outcomes, right? It's like, the way that I like to think about it is, 100-meter sprinter isn't going to shave 5 seconds off of their 100-meter time, right? They're not. What they can potentially do is shave fractions of a second off, right? And whether they do that by shaving their legs, increasing their VO2 max, perhaps changing their diet or changing their shoes, they will do that incrementally. So when you approach attention, approach it strategically. So across all of your media, buy into the methodology with the attention measurement platform that you believe has the best approach, and then think about how incrementally you can start to improve your media and your results. And then over time, what you're going to see, and we've seen this with some of the clients, you will be able to massively reduce your media spend because you are able to drive the same results with less impressions and less spend. And that's the ultimate goal. That's where you want to get to.
Great, Alex. Thank you so much for your great answers and for taking the time with us.